Welcome to Free and on the Road. Today we are going to do the full maintenance on the Breville Barista Express machine. As you can see, my light is flashing and that means that I need to descale it. So we'll do the full process. I'll show you how to change your filter. I will show you how to do the descale, and I'll show you how to clean out the portafilter as well. Then I'll show you some of the cool tools that came with the machine and why we need them and how to use them. So we're going to go ahead and get started, but please, before we get started, make sure you hit the bell. Like, follow, subscribe, and share. I appreciate everybody that's been following along this far, and let's go ahead and get going. All right, first things first is we're going to go ahead and do the descaling of the portafilter. In order to do that, we do need to make sure that our tray is empty. As you can see right now, my tray is nice and full. So I'm going to go ahead and empty that out now. All right, I went ahead and got my tray emptied. We want to make sure that it's empty because what we're going to do is be running a cycle. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do now that our tray is empty is we're going to go ahead and do the portafilter. You're going to need your little cleaning disc. This came with your machine. It will be in all the little tools that you got, and that goes right inside of your portafilter. We would need to make sure that we put our 1 cup portafilter in there. I ordered the Breville cleaning disc. These are the Espresso cleaner disc. This removes coffee oil and residue.
First things first, wow. Taste the coffee.
We're going to get, oops, take 2. We're going to get our Breville tablets. These are our Espresso cleaning tablets. Put 1 right on top. Our machine is already off. We'll lock our portafilter in. Put a jug or something under there so you don't have too much water in your tray. And then we will press and hold these, the 1 shot, 2 shot, and power button at the same time for about 10 seconds. All right, so this is a 5-minute cycle. It's going to be cycling on and off as it goes through. You will know when the cycle's done. Hopefully before you started your 5-minute cycle, you were like me and you were smart and made a cup of coffee so you can be enjoying your coffee while you're waiting for it to do its 5 minutes of cleaning. All right, so did you just hear those 2 beeps? That means that the cycle is complete. So now we're going to go ahead and check to make sure that our disc is gone. So you can see there, our disc is gone. All right, so now that that is complete, our disc is dissolved. That has cleaned the actual head on our machine. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start the descale process of the machine. So this part is done. I'm going to move this aside. All right, so the next process that we're going to do is we're actually going to descale the actual machine. So in order to do that, we take out our water reservoir tank. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take out our filter, because this is always a good time to change your filter. If you're going to be doing a maintenance on the machine, you might as well be changing that as well. So you'll take out the old filter, like so. So there's, it kind of looks gross. That is time to change that. See, kind of gross. All right, and I have a new filter, and while we're doing the descaling process, I'm actually going to take my new filter and just place it into a bowl with some filtered water. So I'll go ahead and put some filtered water right into that bowl. This needs to soak for at least 5 minutes before you put it into the machine. So I always start this process so I can start soaking while I'm doing the descaling process. Next step, I'm going to go ahead and dump the water out that's in here, and then I will show you filling it up. All right, so first step is we're going to get our Breville descaling solution. I have a new bottle here. I thought I had an open one somewhere. I probably do. Now I probably have 2 open bottles. You're going to pour about half of this bottle into your water reservoir. It's about 4 ounces. So now I have enough in this bottle for my next cleaning cycle. On your water reservoir, there's a descale line right here. See that descale line? And we're going to fill it with filtered water, always using filtered water in our machine. I know I've talked about that many times in my videos, how important it is to use filtered water. So we're going to go ahead and fill that with filtered water up to the descale line. All right, now we have our water reservoir ready. It has our descaler in it. Put that back on the back of our machine. All right, so we have our water reservoir in. I got a little I got my little pitcher to catch water, and we're going to get into the descale cleaning cycle. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and enter into the actual descaling mode. So we're going to press the power button and the 2-cup espresso button at the same time. We will hold those buttons down until the light for the 1-cup espresso and the clean descale and hot water are all illuminated. Once that's illuminated, we're going to go ahead and start with the descaling process of the actual machine, of the actual head. So we'll press the 1-cup espresso, and it'll run a cycle. You'll see the water coming out here. All right, so now that the actual head is done, we're going to go ahead and do the hot water. So for the hot water, we just take all right, so we're going to go ahead and now turn our valve to hot water, and that hot water is going to come out and it'll run its cycle. Once that cycle's done, we're going to do the steam cycle. That you can just put here, put it onto steam. And what this is doing is it's running the descaler through each one of these components to help make sure there's no scale buildup in your machine. We're going to keep running all 3 of these cycles until our entire reservoir is empty. So we'll go back and do the 1 shot again. All right, I'm going to empty this out, and then we'll do the hot water and the steam. All right, so we still have a little bit of water left in our tank, so we're going to go ahead and do that hot water again. Then we'll run our steam cycle. We still have more, so we're going to go ahead and do another cycle. You can see it's starting to run slow now. It's getting to the point where there's not enough water to pull through there. We'll just let it keep going until it can't go anymore. So if you see the reservoir tank right now, it's at the minimum line. You can also hear the machine having a hard time pulling that water out. That means that we're at the end of our tank. So we're going to go ahead and stop that cycle. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually rinse all of that descaler out of our machine. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to take off my water reservoir. I'm going to go rinse this off, and then we're going to run this whole process with clean water. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cleaned out, and then we'll get it filled up and started again. All right, so I'm going to put my tank back on there. It is not full yet, but I have my water somewhere. My handy water filtration sits right on here when I fill it up, so it's the easiest way for me to fill it. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill up that tank all the way to the top. Once it's completely full, we're going to go ahead and run the same process. So I've still left the machine on. The machine is still in the descale mode, so it's still going to be running the full descale process, but it's going to be doing it with clean water. All right, I got my reservoir full, and now I'm going to go ahead and run that same process with the clean water, and I'm going to do it for 3 cycles just to make sure we get all the descaler out of there. So we're going to go ahead and press the 1-cup espresso first. We'll do our hot water. So your first cycle that you're running is pretty much just getting whatever's in the pipes out. So we're going to run another cycle after this just to make sure that there's none of that descaler in there. So when you go to make your coffee, you don't have descaler in your espresso. Okay, so we're going to run the process one more time, just right through the same cycle. Oh, that was not the hot water, guys. That was the steamer. Hot water first. I'm going to drain this while my steam is running. And I'm just going to run the cycle one more time. And then after that, we'll go ahead and move on to the next step. All right, while this is running our last cycle, we're going to get our water filter ready to go back into the machine. So we just take our pre-soaked water filter and put it right back into that little basket that we got. Snap that in there. You can set your month that you put it in. I think they say you're supposed to replace it every 3 months. I personally don't even set the months on there. What I do is I replace it every time I do the descale on this machine. I figure I'm descaling it about once a month anyway, so it'll get changed every month. You just take that and put that back in the back of your filter. I mean your water reservoir. So just snap that right back in there. All right. Our reservoir is ready to go. Our machine has been descaled. We can go ahead and turn it off. And when we turn our machine back on, there will be no flashing lights. Now our machine is completely ready to go again. The only thing that we have not serviced yet, which I also service every time I descale, is our burr grinder. So I'm going to show you some of the tools and some of the things that come with your machine so we can actually service that as well. So when I'm working on the burr grinder, not only do I turn the machine off, but I also unplug my machine. I just don't want to chance getting my hand stuck in that burr grinder. Okay, so first we're going to go ahead and empty out our tray from all of our cleaning, and then I'll show you some of the tools and how to service your burr grinder. All right, so your machine comes with a bunch of handy little tools. If you don't have a scale or a way for you to measure your espresso, this precision trimming tool can actually help with that. What you do is you grind your espresso, you tamp your espresso, and then you use this to trim off any excess espresso. And that is a way, as you guys seen in my videos, I weigh everything, but that is another way to do it without having a scale, so that you can make sure that you're getting the right amount of dosed espresso. So I keep that little thing in my handy toolkit. You also get an Allen wrench. That's actually to remove the head here. So if you ever have problems with the head, I know I have not had this issue yet, but I have done a lot of research on it. And sometimes if you lose pressure as it gets older, there's a seal in there that you can change. So you have the little Allen key so that you can remove that head and change that seal if you need to. Another cool tool is this one. I don't know if you have any idea what this is for, but this is for your steamer wand. I actually had, my son was using my machine and he wasn't purging the steamer enough. And I went to go steam one day and it wasn't shooting out. So you take your little steamer wand cleaner and you just put it right up the steamer hole like so. And it just goes in and out like that. So if there's anything stuck, you can see on the head here, there's like you can see the notches, and it just goes right in the notches like that. And if there's anything stuck in that head there, that'll get it out for you. It also has a little tiny poker here. So you should be cleaning your portafilters every time you use them. But if for some reason some of your little holes get stuck, it does have a really tiny little needle there. And you just take and you poke it right into the holes of your portafilter. So if you see anything stuck in there, you can poke that in and it'll get all of those little things out for you. I have never used that, but I also am very diligent about cleaning my portafilter. I wash it with hot water as soon as I'm done using it. I have this bottomless portafilter. And I wasn't taking it apart, and then I realized I saw buildup up in this area. So what I do is every day when I'm done using it, it just pops right out like this. And you can actually clean the actual portafilter basket and the portafilter. I think it went like a week before I took it off, and there was like coffee all built up on the inside. I didn't realize you were supposed to take that apart. So I found that out, I guess, the hard way. So that's another thing that you should probably do if you have the bottomless. If you have the portafilter from Breville, if you haven't upgraded to the bottomless, they pop out just the same. You should know that because you had to pop out your portafilter to put in the single dose portafilter for the cleaning. So that does come out the same on those. Breville gives you a handy little scooper. I've never used it, but it's kind of cute. And then a couple little brushes so that we can clean out the machine. So now we're going to go ahead and clean out the burr grinder. I'm just going to show you that so we do a full maintenance on this machine from top to bottom. What happens is when we put our espresso beans or our coffee beans into the grinder, there's a lot of oils that are released. So if you're not cleaning this on a regular basis, your grinder can get backed up, or it can get clogged from those oils. So first what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take the basket off. And that'll take all the beans in the basket that are in there out. Okay? And I forgot about this. I should have done this before I turned the machine off. What I normally do, you can actually vacuum all of this out, but I don't have a little vacuum. So what I normally do when I'm cleaning this, I'm going to put this back on and show you. What I normally do is I actually just grind that little bit right into my, I'm just going to grind it right into my portafilter here. Helps if you turn the machine on though. Oh, and it just ran water and I didn't have the basket. Okay, so I turn the machine on and I'm just going to run the rest of those grinds out. That to me is the easiest way to get those grinds out, unless you have a little vacuum to vacuum in there. Then you could vacuum those all out. And you can hear as it's running, I'm going to do it one more time. You can hear as it's running out of the beans. That you can hear the change. That means it's out of beans. So I'll go ahead and stop that. So it gave me almost a full amount. I'll measure that later and use that for a cup later. All right, so then once we get this upper thing out, we get those grinds out, we're going to go ahead and unlock the burr grinder and take it out. So you can see the colander here, and this needs to get brushed out. So we can take and brush all of that out. I'll just brush it on my counter here, clean it up when I'm done. So you're going to want to brush all of this. Brush works better. Brush all of that out. That helps so that all that residue and all the oils from the coffee don't sit in there. It helps keep your burr grinder in tip-top shape. Okay. I think I am going to have to get a vacuum for this. Okay, so I'm going to actually brush this out, and then I'm going to get a vacuum and vacuum the top out because there are so much in there still. And it won't sit back in there properly with all of those grinds. But you can see right here the burr in the center. We want to make sure that all the grinds are brushed off of that, because that is where all the oil, you can see the oil build up down there in the bottom of the burr grinder. That's the kind of stuff that we want to brush out of there. And I will, like I said, I'll pull a vacuum out and vacuum the rest of it out. Probably.
So the next cycle it'll go in there. Yeah. I guess that's why they give you the brush.
All right. So my husband had to come in and help me do it all because he was taller than me and I couldn't see it all. But we got it all brushed out of there, got it all cleaned. I'm going to show you this while I have it out, because I do have a lot of people question me about this all the time. How to do the micro grind. So since this is out, this is a good time to do it. So if you look at your micro grinder, mine is set. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to try to do a close up here. Okay, so it says fine and it says coarse, and my red dot is set to 3. So I have my micro or my internal burr grinder set to 3. Then that's how I get the best grind for my particular coffee. The machine, I think, is default set to 5. So when I originally got my machine, I had a hard time tuning in the espresso grind. And I did go over that in my Frustrated with Your Breville Barista Express. So if you need to know exactly how to change that, you can go back in there. But it's super easy. You just pull this out and you just take this off. This little thing pops right off here. And then it unlocks it, so you can actually turn, it'll actually unlock this so you can turn it once you pull this whole handle off. But I did go through a step-by-step in my other video there. All right, so we're just going to align it with the line right here at the top. When we put it back in, we're going to just put it with the align, and then we're going to just turn it into lock position. That's it. As simple as that. Your burr grinder is now ready to go for another batch of coffee. All right, so we'll go ahead and put this back on. I'm going to go ahead and put my coffee back in there for my next round. Now, I've done this a million times, so I'm going to tell you from my experience, if you're going to turn your machine on, put your drip tray in there, because what happens is when your machine turns on, if you look here, it says steam water purging reservoir. When you turn your machine on, it actually starts a purge cycle, and so it'll pour water out the back. So if you don't have your tray in there, you're going to have water all over your counter. All right, so I take all my handy little tools. They go back in my cool, handy little tray, right back into my machine for next time I clean it. It's so cool how it just like snaps in with your, it was a really good design. It snaps in with your tray and you just push that back. Now our machine is ready to go. If you're like me and you do double shot espressos, remember when you turn your machine back on, because I've unplugged the machine to clean the burr grinder, we're going to have to change the filter size back to 2 because it always defaults it to a single shot. All right, so now we're ready. Our machine is clean and we're ready to go ahead and pull our first shot after having a clean machine. I don't know how much coffee that was, so we're going to go ahead and weigh it. So we'll go like this. I'm going to use up that leftover grinds that I had in the machine. So I'll weigh that first. This is what I ground when I cleaned up the machine. You saw me set it aside. I just saved it. It is 13 grams. It was almost enough for a shot. 14 grams. So I don't need that much more. So I'm just going to manually grind it. I don't know if you know how to manually grind it. You just hold it in. And then when you let go, it'll stop grinding. I'm at 17.5, so just a touch more. There we go, 18.4. And of course, the woo woo woo. Whiskey. My scale came with, I put everything in the drawer here so it was out of my way, but my scale came with this handy little rubber that you can put on the counter. So when you're tamping your espresso down, it doesn't wreck your counter. So we'll go ahead and tamp that down. Now I think our heads are pretty warm because we've done all this stuff, but as you guys know, I like to make sure my heads are purged. So I'm going to go ahead and purge that head real fast. All right, so we purged our head so it's nice and hot. Like I said, I use the filter screen on my portafilter to help keep that head clean and help not get as many oils on there. I do everything that I can to try to make this machine last the longest that it can, and that's one of the steps. I'm going to go ahead and pull this into one of my cortado cups so that you guys can see the crema on this espresso. We'll go ahead and put that in there, and now we're going to pull our first shot after our machine is cleaned. All right, that was pretty perfect, 36 grams at 30 seconds, and you can see the beautiful crema. That's what we got out of our fresh cleaned, descaled Breville machine. I'm pretty sure that any of you can do this. I know sometimes it seems daunting reading the instructions, so I hope this helps you walk through on how to clean your machine. Anytime that clean descale light goes on, you're supposed to actually clean the portafilter. If both lights are flashing is when you're supposed to do the descale. I do everything at the same time, so it's about once a month I'm doing this. Sometimes it goes 2 months depending on how much coffee I make. So it depends on how many cycles a machine has gone through. So when that light turns on, just go ahead and do this process and you will have a machine that'll last a lifetime. Thank you for watching Free and On the Road. I hope that this was educational for you. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share. Don't forget that I also have a Buy Me a Coffee link below if you'd like to help support my channel. And keep on brewing.